man don't know shit.
All right, here we are, friends. I'm excited for this one. Hanging out with my brother, my buddy, my pal, Mr. Colin Irvine, bass player extraordinaire. He plays in the band The Brains. He plays with the Hypnophonics. He has his own YouTube channel as well. And yeah, we're gonna hang out tonight. Can't wait. So stick around and don't forget about the Be a Producer program. The link to the PayPal is under this video. 25 cents, 50 cents, $1 or more. It's all good. And then you become a producer of the next episode. And that's a good way to support this channel. And speaking of supporting the channel, don't forget to punch the shit out of that subscribe button for the YouTube thing. And yeah, man, let's get it on. Here we go. Colin, how you doing, brother?
Good, man. How are you?
Doing great. Last night, you see the record behind me? Can you see what that is?
You got some Maiden on the turntable there, huh?
It was Maiden Monday yesterday. Yeah, man. Where are you right now?
I'm at home. Hold on. Sorry about that. I'm at home right now. I'm hanging in the gear lockup during lockdown.
Some people get a sofa during lockdown. You know, you get the garage.
Yeah.
Right on. So I want to hop right into this because you, my man, are one of the best upright bass players I know.
That's very generous. Thank you.
Well, it's funny because I've noticed a trend on this show. It wasn't done by purpose, but a lot of my friends seem to be bass players. Like there's really like a lot of bass players have been on this show, right? And you know, finally we get to sit down. Now, when you started playing bass, if I'm not, correct me if I'm wrong, you were in Winnipeg, is that correct?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
What got you onto upright bass?
So, yeah, I was pretty into electric bass, and that was mostly due to Rancid. But then, you know, because of my love for Rancid, I started buying those Give 'Em the Boot compilation CDs that Hellcat was putting out. And so I think I got, my first one was Give 'Em the Boot 2 or 3. I don't remember which one. And it had like a Necromantic song and a Tiger Army song on it as well. And as soon as I heard it, I was like, what is that sound? And then I think I went over to YouTube and I found some videos on there. And I was like, holy shit, that sound is the bass. It had that extra percussive, you know, clicking sound. As soon as I saw that, I was like, fuck these electric toys. I'm putting them away. I'm going to go get an upright bass.
It's so true what you say about the clicky, like the percussive aspect about it. Like I've seen quite a few times and it really works well when it's even like rockabilly duos, you know what I mean? Like, and without drums because the clicky becomes the percussion, right?
For sure. Yeah.
No, it's definitely something I enjoy with the upright. I was jamming with Frankie the other day, and he was doing some of that kind of before band practice type thing where you kind of mess around. I'm like, it's really got that, you know. And I see why in duos it works. Like I remember going to Old Orchard Pub. It was the two dudes from Hellbound Hepcats were playing there, and they used to mostly play just as a duo back then. But it really worked, and you weren't missing the drums.
Right. I don't know if this is verifiable. I think I saw it in a documentary on an airplane once, but apparently slapping the bass was a really necessary thing in like early roots and rockabilly music and stuff like that, because a lot of places wouldn't allow drums because they thought it was jungle music. And so to have some sort of, you know, percussive beat to the song, you know, your choices were to slap the bass or to have like a, you know, a Johnny Cash kind of a thing where the singer's holding a guitar. He's not necessarily playing it, but he's going on the strings, you know?
Yeah, wasn't there something bad about Johnny Cash? He used to use like a card from a deck of cards on his guitar to really accentuate that sound, that
I have no idea, but it sounds awesome.
well like I like that because both our stories were not really confirming, but they make sense. So I'm going to roll.
Yeah, this is bro science, bro history here.
Exactly. Bro science.
Where's young Jamie?
Science.
Pull that shit up.
That's right. Oh shit, man, it's so true. But I mean, you know that there's the good side to fact checking everything, but there's a bad side to it too. I mean, you know, the truth gets in the way a lot of great stories.
Yeah, yeah.
I remember it was my grandfather told me that when I was like a young teenager. It's like, never let the truth get in the way of a good story. I'm like, gotcha.
All right, I'll make a career out of it. Thanks.
Exactly. So you were pretty young when you started playing the upright then.
Yeah, I guess so. I was in let's see, how old was I? I think I was either in my senior year of high school or my first year out. And then that's when I got into it.
Yeah. And when did you start playing it? Like, it wasn't your first instrument as you played in a band, from what I understand. Like,
No.
you played electric bass in a band before an upright, right? What was your first
Yeah.
experience like switching to an upright, but in a band context? Because that's a radical change, right?
Yeah, it was gnarly because I had become so comfortable on electric bass, playing in punk bands and stuff. I was in a band that did some touring across Canada, but then like the learning curve on it was pretty rough in the beginning, honestly. Just being able to perform when you don't have frets. All of a sudden, you're like, oh man, like I got to try and look cool, but like I really want to look at where my fingers are and try and figure out if I'm hitting this or not.
Well,
And
that's a whole
when I
thing, right?
started, and when I started, I had like crappy gear, so it's like I can't turn the bass up past 2, or it's gonna feed back and scream like a wailing banshee. So it's just like, well, I hope I'm hitting my notes. I can't really hear it.
Well, that's it. That's two of the main things that are probably often cited as difficult with upright bass is first of all the tuning, because there's no frets, right? I mean, no matter what you tune it at, I mean, still it's your finger position that's going to dictate the tuning, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And then the other thing is feedback, like, especially for louder bands that use upright, like that's always an issue. How did you overcome the feedback issues?
A lot of trial and error, honestly. I basically threw everything at it that I could. Inside a bass, there's like, say this is the front of the bass with the bridge sticking out of it, and this is the bass of the bass. Well, between those two, there's like a wooden dowel in there, and it's called a sound post. And all basses have one of those in there, and it's under the bass foot of the bridge. But if you add another one on the G side of the bridge, you can sort of stifle the resonance of the body of the bass a little bit.
Right.
And then I throw EQ at it. I have a compressor and a noise gate, and I have a phase inverter switch on my preamp. So I like basically every trick in the bag. I'm throwing it all at fucking anti-feedback.
Did you stuff that at all? Like, I've heard of that in the past, like even with some Gretsch guitars, the big old ones there and stuff. Some people used to stuff anything they could get into that, but I'd always kind of worried that kind of affects the tone in a negative manner as well.
For sure. Yeah, you could get a lot of bad stuff going on with there, and I mean, good luck getting the stuffing out once it's in there, pulling it back through an F hole.
That's a good point.
Yeah. No, I used to stuff my F holes though. I had like these little strips of black foam that I cut out of, like, I don't know, some extra piece from a road case. And I would put those in there to try and stifle it. But this is back when I lived in some small ass town and I didn't have access to a luthier to put in the second sound post. And the only guitar store was like 100 kilometers away, and they only sold cables and picks.
Where was that?
I was in Jasper.
Oh shit, that's right.
Yeah, because when my band in Winnipeg broke up, I fucked off to the mountains to just sort of sort myself out and figure out what I wanted to do. And then
Isn't
after
that a weird thing?
There, yeah, for sure.
No, but I mean, like, people head for the hills when their life, when there's a big change or something, we always head to the hills.
Yeah, I think I was running from it, but it served me well because it gave me a chance to, like, learn to play the upright bass, and that's where I started performing with it. I played in like a sort of country-ish, rockabilly-ish band for a little bit, and then I played in like a more of a Reverend Horton Heat style kind of band after that. And doing that and getting the experience from that is what led to me getting my job with the Brains. So,
well, I was going to ask, how did that happen? Because, like, first of all, you've been in the Brains for quite a while, and I mean, you guys are a well-oiled machine and all that, But how did you hook up with Renee and crew?
So I was playing in a band called Sam Hate and the Jackals when we were in Jasper, and we got contacted about a gig in Edmonton, which is like 2-3 hours from there, and yeah, it was a gig opening for the Brains. So we did it and everything. Great show, had a lot of fun, great turnout, great venue that doesn't exist anymore, called
Yeah,
New
man.
City. And yeah, after the show, Renee was just drunk as piss. He came up to me and he was like, "Hey, I like you, man. If something ever happens, I need a bass. I gotta call you, buddy." Yeah.
I can totally picture that because we've all been there, you know, together.
Yeah. He was a 10 out of 10 Edmonton drunk.
That's awesome.
So I took it with a grain of salt, and I was like, "Yeah, okay, we'll see." But yeah, he called me.
I mean, you're a long way away, though. I mean, Renee's in Montreal, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah, when the time came, he told me like, this is what I want to do. He wanted to do a little bit of recording and then do 2 shows in Ontario, and I think there was a show in Montreal too. I can't remember though. It's so long ago. And I was very incredulous. I was like, okay, like who's paying for my gas to come out there? Like, are these shows real? What's going on? And I was like, put Stomp on the phone. I talked to I think I talked to Matt, and Matt was like, yeah, okay, we'll throw you this many dollars for gas and expenses to get down here and do it. And I was like, okay. And so I called my boss and I called my girlfriend at the time, and I was like, so this is crazy, but I have to leave this afternoon if I'm going to make it in time to rehearse for this show that's like next week. And
Love
so I threw it all in the van and I drove across the country. It took me like 3 days.
That's crazy. You know, it's funny. Some of those spontaneous, life-changing moments, you know what I mean? Like those are always the best. Like, you know, guys like you, it's like, I love you, baby. I love you every day, but I got to leave your ass anyway. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. You know, luckily I was young and dumb enough to do it. And here we are.
Well, that's the great thing too, is about like, you know, those types of moves work really well if you're not in a position in your life when you have too many roots all like planted really deep, you know?
Yeah, exactly. You know, I think at that point, any possession that I gave a damn about was in the back of that van.
Yeah, man.
You know, and so
completely.
so you know, if I fucked off and never came back, it's like burn the rest. There's like an old Oasis CD and like some band tees. That's all I had to my name.
Yeah, man. Did you like just drive it straight nonstop or together?
Yeah,
That's a 3-day drive.
I didn't have any money to stay in hotels and stuff, so I just drove as long as I could, and then when I couldn't anymore, I would sleep in a gas station parking lot.
Yeah,
and then just hit it again, you know. And you know, I didn't get hit by any moose on the loose, and yeah,
that's a real thing, man.
Yeah, it is.
Especially
anyone driving through Northern Ontario knows.
Fuck, man. Yeah. I still think the wildest animal I saw out there was actually a lynx right in the fucking snowstorm. It was just standing on the side of the highway looking out with bulging muscles. Like it looked like it was on steroids. Seriously, I couldn't believe that's what I really retained from it. Oh, yeah. And I'm like, man, that's one cat I would not want to mess with. You know, they're not the largest, but like quick. And like it just looked like a killing machine, you know?
No, yeah, they'll fuck you up, man. They'll come out of a tree and fuck you when you're not even looking.
Exactly. Hope it kisses me first.
I doubt it.
We're done raw, baby. So you get to Montreal, you're out of your element. I mean, Montreal is, you know, still in North America considered an extremely large city. Music scene is wild and crazy and all that.
When you're living in Jasper and you pull into Montreal traffic, you're like, the fuck is this?
Turn this rig around.
Yeah. Going through Toronto, I was like, okay, this is a little hairy. I got to Montreal, I was like, this is anarchy.
It really is.
Yeah.
I can just picture, but like at this point, you don't even have a place to live or stay or anything like that, right?
No, and I wasn't even sure if I was gonna get a full-time job in the band or if I was just doing these couple of shows or whatever. You know, I could turn up and like after the 2 gigs, Renee could be like, yeah, you know, thanks but no thanks,
that was drunk talk, baby. I didn't mean it. I didn't think you'd be here.
Like, yeah, you're a good bass player, but I think you're kind of a dick. So kick rocks, Jack. Fucking have fun driving back.
Yeah, man. But I mean, look at the legacy you guys are, still building together. It's quite impressive. I mean, there is one point. It's just like every time I turn around, it's like new album and new tours. It's like go.
Yeah.
It's pretty impressive. How many albums did you record with the Brains?
So I've got Zombie Nation, Drunk Not Dead.
One of my all-time favorite songs, by the way.
Thank you. The Cover Up, Out in the Dark, Satana Tarantula,
Monster Within.
There you go. Yeah. Thank you.
Shit. I just popped my head. Well, because you know how all the bands we are on the road all the time. It's like you grab all your buddies' bands CDs. Anyway, we had a couple of those in the van for a while because our the only thing that works in our van is the CD player.
Yeah.
But
mine just died in ours.
Oh no.
Yeah.
You got to get one of those little transmitter things where you put it on the radio station, but then in some cities there's too many radio stations and it keeps cutting out.
Yeah, we have one of those aux cable input things, so that I think that still works. But the speakers in the backs are fucking blown out. It's terrible. You gotta fade it. You gotta fade it all to the front and turn it up real loud so they can hear it in the back.
That's wild. But now with all those albums you guys recorded, one thing's that I basically got to know you on the road anyway. But I mean, you guys toured hardcore.
Yeah,
like really, I don't know how many tours between albums there, but I mean, you guys were always on the road there for a bunch of years.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think the first probably 8 years that I was in the band, it was just nonstop. We were on tour at least 6 months out of the year. We're in the studio for another month out of the year. It was gnarly. We were busy. But again, we were young and we could do that all the time.
Man, young.
Now it's a little harder. Renee moved to the States and now he's in Vancouver, and I've got a baby on the way, and
oh shit,
coronavirus
Fuck, man.
is real.
Man, it's so cool. Like you mentioned, you have a baby on the way. It's one of the only positive things I can fucking see right now. How are you guys holding up with the whole virus?
We're great, man. We're great. We're lucky to live in Canada and to have those government bailout CERB checks. That got us through the worst of it. And but what can I say? We were busy making babies, so we had a pretty good time.
That's it. Some good work if you can get it.
I made the most of it.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that's freaking awesome. Now, let's get back to touring for a second. You toured Europe a bunch, right?
Yeah, lots.
USA.
Wait, can I go pee? Can I go pee and then we can ask this question again?
Oh yeah, absolutely. On the last episode, I was in the bathroom peeing. I didn't even stop. Wasn't even a cut. I was pissing. Go for it, bro.
I'll be right back.
Yeah, man.
All right.
And we're back. A little higher and a little drier.
Back.
So yeah, man. You guys tour a whole bunch. I know you go to Europe a bunch and you did States a bunch and Canada, probably other places as well. What are the differences? Or do you even notice a difference really? Between touring these different countries?
I mean, the scenery changes, but I think the more you travel, the more you realize that people aren't so different,
Mm-hmm.
There might be the language barrier, but if you get a chance to visit these places multiple times and get to know people, over the course of, many tours and everything, I think you find that you have a lot more in common with people all over the world than you would think. So,
that's
go ahead.
It's such a beautiful thing because what you just said there is so incredibly true, and we tend to forget it. a lot. You know what I mean? Like everybody
Yeah.
thinks, oh, everything's so different, or them over there, or we're the greatest and all this. Man, we're all the same at the end of the day with a couple of little differences.
Yeah, we're all people. Yeah, I think if you don't get a chance to travel as much as, you know, guys like us in bands do, it's easy to forget that. But, you know, you see
Yeah,
all
for sure.
sorts from all over, and you realize, you know, we're all in this together, and we're not so different.
It's funny, I was talking about ever since the weed is legal in Canada and stuff, you know, like Amsterdam, it was always such a big thing. And yes, we love, yeah, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, while you peed, I got a little toke on there. But, you know, Amsterdam used to be such a special place because weed was legal there and everything else to do with it too. I mean, Amsterdam still is a special place, but like, it's when I realized like Montreal should really just be like Amsterdam, you know? Or it
Yeah, I
kind of
think
almost is.
I think it almost is. You know, we're like, I think the sex industry here is not as explicit, but I mean, it's certainly on par with what they've got going on over there.
That's
I
it.
think,
Ever
I
walk
think
down
we're
St.
just
Catharines
missing
Street
the.
East?
Yeah, that's right. I think the only thing we're missing is like the legalized mushrooms, but it sounds like that's in the works. So we'll see.
You mean they're not legal here?
No.
That's so stupid. All my buddies are doing mushrooms all the time these days.
Yeah, well, our buddies do a lot of things that aren't necessarily kip with the old Papa Trudeau.
Well, that's it, eh? That's funny. You know that whole thing like about mushrooms, you know how I was just thinking about this because somebody was talking about it the other day, but about how it's a reset, you know, and for people that might suffer from depression or depressive moments and stuff like that. And you know, it's funny. I do believe in the power of laughter. And I do think that every single time I've done mushrooms, the next day my freaking jaw hurts from laughing so much. So hey, I'm all for it.
Yeah, that's great, man. No, I mean, like, you hear about all this interesting research that they're doing on the use of you know, mushrooms and ketamine for people with PTSD, depression, anxiety.
I didn't hear about the ketamine thing.
Yeah, there's a lot of places that are doing medicinal ketamine treatments. They basically like blast you to the moon with ketamine, and it's supposed to sort of like reset you if you're dealing with some like hardcore trauma.
Oh shit, that's wild.
Yeah.
Man, the only time I ever did ketamine, it was by accident, and it was late at night, and I ended up. I was trying to get home or something, but I ended up getting lost in some garden somewhere out close to the Big O or something. I'll never forget this. And I called my friend. I'm like, man, I'm totally lost right now. I need a hand, you know? And my friend had the smartest intervention. She said, can you see a sidewalk? And I kind of look around. Finally, I spotted the sidewalk, which wasn't actually that far. I'm talking about 3 steps away, but it took me a while to find it anyway. And so I find the sidewalk. Then she tells me, walk on the sidewalk until you get to a cross street and stop there. So I do that. I finally make it. And then she goes, look up at the street signs. And I do. She goes, what is it? And I finally am able to read them. And then she goes, oh, that's perfect. Don't move because the taxi's on the way right there now to get you.
No
like,
way.
That's a friend,
You got saved.
Yeah,
you would have
totally,
slept in a bush.
so much, man.
Oh my God.
You know, especially when you're a little younger and a little dumber, you know, you're waking up on Bishop Street, hugging one of those street trees beside a parking meter.
Yeah.
Not that ever happened or anything, but it could, you know?
Oh, yeah. Hypothetically, right?
Exactly. But man, I'm missing the roads so much right now.
Yeah, me too, man. Me too. I miss
What was one of your favorite bands
shows.
Well, right. I mean, it's such a huge part of your life. It's If you didn't, you'd have to ask yourself some pretty serious questions.
Yeah.
What was one of your favorite bands that you ever toured with?
You guys.
Aw, baby.
I still think one of the most fun tours we ever did was that one where we were racing in the Rockies.
Oh, fuck.
But I've had the pleasure of touring with a lot of really talented and fun bands over the years, you know.
Mm-hmm.
From like, you know, from local guys like us, and having the chance to do so many tours with the Reverend Horton Heat and Necromantics was just mind-blowing. We got to do one bus tour in our career, and that was with the Rev over in Europe, and that was
I'm a huge fan. I love him.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I'd love to get him, right? I know, man. Bells of cocaine, right?
Classic.
Mm-hmm. We once did a reggae version of that song.
With K-Man or before?
No, with K-Man.
Yeah.
Well, I always find that's a great way to, just as a songwriting point of view, if you take a well-written song, it can be played in any style, and that's a good example of it.
Yeah, for sure.
Man, that's wild. You guys did that tour because I remember you talking about the Avatar.
Yeah, that was probably our biggest tour that we ever did, and that was it was like 2 months across the USA and parts of Canada. And that was nuts. That was truly crazy. Those guys had buses and semi trucks and cube trucks full of merch and stuff. And we pulled up to the first gig, and we roll up to this huge venue, like massive venue. This is like a 2,000 seater venue, and they say, all right, who the fuck are you? We're like, we're the direct support act. And they're like, okay, pull over between those two buses. The openers had a bus. We were in a little fucking shitty van, not even a trailer. We're all stacked in there, like, sorry. So we pull in between these two buses, and we're like, oh, okay, all right, ego check, all right. And then, I open the back door, I pull out my bass, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go take this inside. And I walk in. And we go in through the side door, which takes you just right in front of the stage, basically. And as I walk in, there's like an explosion, confetti flying, and like these flags drop from like these automated like flag dropper robot things they have on the rage system.
The way it should be when you walk in.
Yeah, and then like the guitarist is like wearing this crazy like king costume, and he rises up out of this metal structure on the stage. And I'm looking at this, and I was like, oh no, what are we doing? I ran to the bathroom. I immediately had diarrhea and threw up at the same time. Because we had no stage effects. We had an iPad with an intro thing on it. And we see these guys, they got fucking pyro, and they got a set on stage. They got mechanical things and automated things, and fucking they got a huge crew and all these toys and stuff. I was just like, man, we are going to look like children selling lemonade up there. It's like we are the lemonade stand. These guys are Costco.
That's wild. You spoke of the guitar player from Avatar. I listened to your last album, and I remember when the song came on, and there was this crazy guitar solo. Now, we've done over 30 shows together and stuff like that, so I have a very good idea how Rene plays his guitar solos and his sound and all that.
Yeah, you're like, wait a minute.
I'm like, what the hell just happened? What was that? And then you told me, like, what's the dude's name?
His name's Tim.
Man, he did that solo. It was like immediately I turned around. What the fuck was that?
Yeah.
Pretty wild.
I was so stoked. Rene just sent him a message on Messenger, and he was like, "Hey, you want to do a solo on our next album?" He was like, "Okay." We're like, "Oh shit, sweet." And then he sent it to us, and I think Rene was in front of his laptop with his headphones on. You just see his eyes light up and get a little wider. And he was like, "Oh boy!" And he threw it into the song, and then he put it on the speakers, and me and Guillaume were just like, "Holy shit!"
It's pretty wild, but I mean, like I can imagine that feeling. Like I do think not every band needs a large, backdrop effects, stage thing. But I mean, it's something too. You know, people are paying to see the show. They got the show on that tour. You know, it's like you're mentioning Reverend Horton. He's huge in some parts. It's a different type thing. His stage show is pretty bare bones, and that works and stuff like that. But I gotta admit, every once in a while, I'm a fan of the big show. You know.
No, yeah, and like you say, certain bands, it would be, it might be even weird to have something like that. Like if you're a country band and like you have like, this big elaborate set and costume changes and confetti cannons and bubble machines and all this stuff, people will be like, well, what's going on up there? What's all this razzle pipe? But if you're in like an epic metal band, then yeah, go crazy. Like Iron Maiden right there behind you. They got Eddie coming out on stage and all kinds of sick stuff, and he's jumping off of like 2 stories of Marshall stacks and stuff. And, I
think they probably wrote the book on the big metal show, right?
Oh man, the metal guys from that era were just like, they could do whatever they wanted. Ozzy Osbourne is like,
That's right. Yeah.
I want this, and they're like, okay, how big? He's like, as big as it can be. They're like, okay, and what was it? Judas Priest wants. Who was it? Who was it that had the bomber jet on stage? It was Motorhead.
Oh, it was Motorhead.
Yeah,
for
Motorhead.
Bomber. Yeah.
Yeah, they had
Which Iron Maiden on the last one?
Stage.
They got what is it? A Spitfire on stage too.
Yeah.
They're all.
You got Rob Halford driving onto the stage in a motorcycle. It's just like fucking go for it, man. I hope one day I can experience that kind of frivolous disregard for money and just being like, just fucking, we sold 10,000 tickets tonight. Just fucking, I want a fire truck. I want a fire truck, and I want it to shoot champagne out of the hose arm on the whole crowd.
That sounds brilliant. I'm in.
Yeah. Just go wild.
Yeah, man. Hey, I can dream big, man. I can dream big.
Yeah.
But it's funny, because like I find like even in those big shows, they kind of recycle the same ideas. Everything is either big or small. I've seen it a few times where for some reason they like to hire a small person / midget as a bartender, let's say, or to bring them lines of cocaine on stage or whiskey or whatever it is.
You dress them in black and you can hide them behind any equipment on the stage.
That's
it. You lean back to like check your cable, and there's an LP behind your cabinet, like, here you go. Think about it.
Man, it's funny. It just reminds me of Shorty out in Germany. Shorty Productions, one of the coolest, raddest dudes ever. He's a short person. We didn't even know like he was a short person. We just know that, the promoter was called Shorty Production. So this short person comes up all pierced, hair dyed, with an extremely large and lovable woman at his side, and he comes up to us and goes, fuck machine tonight. You want fuck machine on stage? Hey, fuck machine. I look at Frank and I'm like, oh no. But then we figured out later what he really was saying, but it was just his accent was so heavy. He was talking about a fog machine,
Oh my God.
But for a moment we got scared.
Oh my God. Can you imagine?
I know, right? Ever hear Rock Bitch?
The Rock Bitch? No.
Yeah. Rock Bitch is famous. You should look it up. They're talented ladies and one dude in the band, okay? They live in a castle in Europe, and they're literally talented musicians, good vocalists, like they're good sounding, but they have a sex slave on stage. Dom tried to bring them to Canada. They got turned away at the border of coming into Canada, which is kind of crazy just a story. But I mean, they got a girl peeing on the fans, and their big hit single was called Fist Fuck. And I remember there was a breakdown in the middle, and she'd go, can she take one finger, then 2 fingers, and 3, and so on, until the big chorus shows up. She's like, she likes to fist fuck, yeah, up to the wrist. And all this kind of shit. I was like, what the fuck, man? Stage shows is this? It was wild.
I'm sure they showed up at the border, and the guy was like, oh, you're in a band? Cool. What's the name of the band? They're like, oh, yeah, okay. Clickety, 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 click. Oh no, no, oh no, no, no. All right, you're going home, boys.
That's it.
We're like, why? What happened? He's like, I Googled you. You're out of here.
Stupid internet. The internet is responsible for so many bands getting turned away at borders.
Oh, for sure. For sure. I mean, we always try and play it. Well, we don't try and play it straight. We do play it straight, and we get our work permits. But like one time we were crossing the border to the States, and I had forgotten some paperwork in the van, and I had to go back out and get it. It was something to do with our work permits or our tour routing or something. They wanted to know, all the cities we were going to. And so I was like, oh man, like I left it in the van. Can I go and get it? He's like, yeah, okay. If the guy outside watching the van asks, just say, constable, whatever, said you could do it. And I said, okay. So I went up to the van, and the guy comes out of his little guard thing. He's like, oh, whoa, what are you doing out here? What are you doing? I was like, oh, I need to get something from the van. Constable, whatever, said I could do it. He was like, oh yeah? I was like, yeah, yes, sir. He's like, so what, you just take what you want? I was like, no, I just need the paperwork from the van. He said I could go get it. He needs it for the thing inside. Oh yeah, so you take what you want, huh? I was like,
you got Googled.
Yeah, I was like, excuse me? He like points back to his shack. He's like, I Googled you guys. I watched your music video. Good stuff. I was like, oh, don't do that, man.
It's funny, the whole good cop, bad cop thing, man. We had a horrible experience at the border. O'Connell. And but yet there's another guy that I won't get into. Oh, there's a song coming, brother.
I've never met the man. I'm sure he's a decent and honest man and does a good job at the border. So if ever we cross and we meet this Mr. O'Connell, cheers to you, sir. Good job out there. Keep it up.
It's so fucking intense, man, at the border. But there's always the good ones that, like, there's the other quieter dude, and he's like, oh, you guys are in a band. That's pretty cool. And you could even hear him go by. I mean, they ain't doing nothing. As they're talking to the other guy's still like stone face, just fucking going off on you, yelling at you for no reason and being holier than thou. It drives me absolutely crazy.
Yeah. I don't know. There's got to be like some guy in there, and like somewhere along the road in his marriage, he found out his wife sucked off Nikki Sixx, and now he's got it out for rock bands.
It's all Nikki Sixx's fault.
Yeah. It's like, well, one time in 1989 in Detroit Rock City, I sucked off Nikki Sixx. You what?
Man.
No.
Back to music for a second. Now you're doing all this, these shows and stuff. What was the first big band you ever opened up for? Do you remember?
That is a great question. Do I remember?
It's your first time big venue.
Yeah. So first, I mean, in my world, first time I ever opened up for a big band was Guanabats, and that was in Edmonton. Guanabats are like OG psychobilly from the UK. One of the easily the top 10 psychobilly bands in the world. So for me, that was huge, but yeah, it's still like a 700-800 cap venue. But for me, that was huge starting out.
That's pretty big, yeah.
I don't know. After that, I don't know. It might have been Reverend Horton Heat or something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah,
that's wild.
So long ago.
Now, you're the type of dude that can never be too busy and stuff. You went and joined a second band as well. You're now playing with the Hypnophonics.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
What are you guys up to?
So we're going to be shooting a video actually this month. It's going to be cold, but it's going to be cool. And let's see what else. Yeah, just doing that. We might have a photo shoot with those boys. We put out our EP on Diablo Records. And I guess next up is a full-length album. We'll see. I gotta pee.
Yeah,
again,
man.
I gotta pee again.
I think Colin's drinking a bit there tonight. Running to the bathroom every 5 seconds. Normally that's me.
No, that's me.
Mm-hmm. Well, it was funny, like literally, Dom Castelli, he messaged me after the last podcast I did. I had Bloodshot Bill was on it, and I had to take a leak, but you can't, stop the show or anything. He's messaging me like, "What the hell, dude? You're taking a leak in the middle of the show." I'm like, "Hey, anything goes around here, I just got today an email message from YouTube, the company, who said that the podcast was not child friendly, and now there's an age limit on it. So I'd like everybody out there to know that you have to be 18 years old or older to watch this podcast. And if not, you'll probably end up in Satan's butthole or something like that, because now there is an age limit on the podcast. It's official.
Really? How does that work? You set that up on YouTube?
I just got an email from YouTube. So I was just telling the people while you're out there taking a piss. And it said, we saw an episode. It was the one with Danny Rebel on it. And then it led them to check out the channel, and they deemed that it's 18 and over now.
Oh, were you and Danny smoking jazz cigarettes?
Not even. I don't know why it even mentioned that episode. I was tame on that one.
All right.
But yeah, it's official. And no kitties allowed.
You gotta change it to K-Man After Dark.
That's right.
You can do your 18 plus shows on that one.
That's wild. Hey, speaking of YouTube and stuff like that, and speaking to you, you have a new project coming on. You got your new channel, man. I saw a couple of the episodes. Fantastic. Congratulations, brother.
YouTube.com.
Yeah, man. What's it called? Colin the Dead.
Yeah, youtube.com/Colin the Dead. I just started it up maybe 2.5 weeks ago. I've got 5 videos up there now, another one going up on Friday, and it's a lot of stuff about upright bass mostly. And what I've been doing, I started off doing a couple of like IGTV videos, and saw like kind of surprising amount of interest. I didn't expect people wanted to see a guy diddle his bass all by himself at home, but they wanted to. So then I said, well, I might as well like do a higher quality version of this and make it actually like sound good. And so, Facebook and Instagram just compressed the hell out of the video and the sound. So I said, well, I'll put it up on YouTube. And it's just sort of been a trial by fire, learning as I go and figuring out audio mixing and video editing and all that stuff. But it's been a lot of fun. I just did a collaboration video with some buddies from a band in the UK called Red Hot Riot. And we did a cover of a Necromantic song called Gargoyles Over Copenhagen. And that was like that was a real challenge. I'm not a studio engineer like Mr. De La Muerte, so mixing guitar, drums, and bass together was a new thing for me. I had a lot of fun doing it, and I used like iMovie to do my video editing. And I was like, okay, this will be easy. You drag in one video, and then I had the guitar video and then the drum video. And then I realized really quickly that you can only put 2 videos in there. So I had to edit together the bass and the guitar, because I figured those would be the hardest. And then save that as a file, and then open a new one with those 2 already edited together, and then add the drum file on top, and then intersperse him. And it was...
Man, that's just like 4-track recording back in the day, man.
Yeah,
You're bouncing tracks.
It was gnarly, man. It was totally gnarly. But I loved it.
That's really cool. I saw a couple of episodes, like I said, and I'm not surprised that you got interest quickly. I mean, I don't think there's probably many people out there really, talking about the upright bass in rock and roll context, in big show context, and getting down some of the nitty gritty in that, and I think it probably interests a lot of people.
And that's you hit it right on the head, man. The double bass stuff that's out there is either very specifically for like jazz or orchestral or whatever, or it's very, very general. And there's nothing that was covering psychobilly and rockabilly specifically, and especially not a lot of the topics that I'm talking about, like what kind of gear do you need to be using to like get rid of feedback, or what kind of, you know, okay, you bought this pickup, how the fuck do you put it on your bass and make it sound like something? You know, it's not like you go to the guitar store, you buy a Fender Tele and you plug it in and it works. You know, the double bass is a little more hands-on, a little trickier than that. It's like, okay, I got all these pieces, how do I marry them together and make this fucking thing sound like something half decent?
Well, it's funny because, like, you know, every time I've seen somebody on double bass in like a psychobilly band, because, like, you know, we have a lot of friends in that genre and stuff. It's funny, you know, I always find they look kind of fragile, especially when I see the bridge and stuff. But then I see that the way that, you know, people are using them on stage as well, which is totally contradictory because, like, for some reason, I've seen you play fucking, like I said, like, we've done over 30 shows together. I've seen you outside of that as well. I've seen you hold the double bass over your head while playing, behind your back, standing on it, another bandmate standing on it, twirling it around, whatever it is. But yet you look at the bridge on that thing, I keep thinking it's going to fall apart right there, you know?
Yeah. Well, and, you know, that has happened. But I got this newfangled kind of a bridge. It's called a deuce bridge, and one of the feet is like this and the other one is like the traditional style like this, so it can't rock back and forth and tip over on you. Right. It's a lot more stable. So, you know, if you bump into a rogue guitarist who's spinning around with his eyes closed and
hey, we never do that.
You know, your bridge won't go like kapwing, flying off to the stage right or something like that.
Yeah, man. Hey, it's a big special day today. It's the USA elections, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Okay, without judgment or you know, any bias at all, just who do you think is going to win?
It pains me to say it, but Donald Trump.
yeah, because, you know, like sometimes we get together and watch UFC and stuff like that, and we kind of, you know, do little $1 bets and stuff like that. But so you're saying Trump, I'll say Biden, and we do it for $5.
$5 sounds good. Virtual handshake.
Yeah, man. It's amazing what I'll do for $5. A little bottle of baby duck.
I haven't been paying attention to the elections at all. Like,
yeah, I'm tuned out now. I'm tired of it.
So you know, like, I don't know who's ahead in the polls. I just think that the orange man is going to take it again.
Yeah. You know, I could see it happening as well. Or like, I think it's an interesting time. I mean, it's all so surreal because let's say he doesn't win. I'm wondering about the reaction because his followers, his hardcore followers they're looking a little psycho these days, man. Like, you know, trying to run the Democrat bus off the road or blocking people from getting places, surrounding people on highways and stuff like that. It's pretty intense, man. You know, and I think I even heard him say that he might not really want to leave office even if he loses.
Well, yeah, that's not legal though. So some men in jackboots will come in and fucking hoist him up by his oversized belt loops and give him the old heave ho.
Yeah, man.
You know, what's he gonna do? Well, he's already pissed off the CIA. You can't just hole up in there with a bunch of McDonald's and say, I'm not leaving.
The one thing I will give him credit for is his consistency in being inconsistent and pissing off everybody at one point. You know, whether it's somebody with a disability, whether it's different races, whether it's different countries or whatever. He is pretty consistent in that.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think he's more complicated than people give him credit for, because I think that despite all of his shouting and boisterous activity on social media and stuff like that, I think that he's got some stuff going on behind the scenes, and we don't see every side of this guy, you know.
Well, I'm sure he has a big team, that's for sure.
And he's just the sneaky stuff. You know, he's having these little meetings with North Korea. He's talking to Putin. He's doing this and that and the other thing. It's like,
I just keep expecting kind of like Futurama.
Deeply shady.
I always expect Melania to just turn around when at some point and kind of unzip herself, you know, and then she's really an alien inside or something like that. My brain, you know.
I honestly expect, like, at the end of the, you know, counting the votes and everything, Donald Trump and Joe Biden are both standing up there, and they both unzip and it's Kang and Kodo from Simpsons.
That's it. Fucking A. You know what? That's probably, as far as like the unrealness of life in 2020, why not, man? Everything else is happening. It's fucking crazy.
Oh yeah.
It's so surreal. Like I never thought, first of all, being Canadian and like you realize how important American politics are because they do touch the global world and all this, but it's also the publicity of it. You know what I mean? It's like the biggest TV show in the world right now is, the US politics. It's unbelievable. Sometimes it just seems so unreal that, in 2020, some of the shit that they're saying, it's crazy. And the blatant, we're the best, everybody else is shit, or putting down others, putting down people that are weaker than you and all this kind of thing. It's just fucking unreal, man.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's a weird time. It's a really weird time to be alive. It seems so surreal. Like what the fuck is going on right now?
And whatever happened to the murder hornets?
Oh man, thank God that didn't pan out. I was really scared for a minute there.
Right. Well, actually, it's funny because they just took some kind of crazy shop vac or something, and they found a nest of them, and they vacuumed them all up. And they found a couple of queens in it, right? And so it's coming back in the news. It's fucking
fire.
nuts, man. Mm-hmm. Big burning fires. Hey, brother. It's pretty much time because one thing when I do these Zoom podcasts, it's a limited storage space that I have on them. So I just want to thank you for hanging out with me today. We're gonna talk tomorrow and see who hands who $5.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, man. And we'll have to get together for a UFC match soon.
Yeah. There's some heaters coming up, man.
Oh, yeah, man. Hey, Khabib, is he going to come back for 30-0, or is he really calling it quits?
I don't know. All I can tell you is that my dick is real hard, hoping that he fights GSP.
Fuck, right? The fight of the century.
The dream of all dreams. I want to see one big night event where nobody's fighting for the belt. Like have John Jones at his heavyweight debut versus Brock Lesnar. No, Brock Lesnar. I want a circus. I want a circus show, man. I want GSP and Khabib, and I want Connor versus Tony Ferguson. That's my wet dream.
Yeah, that fight has to happen. But who does Gaethje get?
Oh, Gaethje gets a bag of popcorn and he just gets to watch the show and polish his belt.
Or Masvidal.
Yeah, I would love to see that. I don't know. It seems like the logical choice right now.
Now that would be a lineup for an event, eh?
Yeah. You'd have to have like an unlimited well of money to pay all these guys to do that.
You know what? They're not that far away from having that unlimited well of money. That's for sure. I mean, it's crazy.
He's over there in Abu Dhabi.
Well, that's it. And during the pandemic, they are busting every record because they're the only sport really going, right?
Yeah, it's the only game in town.
Yeah. They made a smart move, man, in making it happen and realizing that they could capitalize on this.
And they did it so well,
Oh, absolutely.
I like it better because you don't hear all those fucking Ric Flair wannabes in the crowd going, woo! now you just hear like,
and you can hear the corner talk.
Meat on bone, meat on bone, and like fucking get up.
I think I prefer it without the crowd. Yeah, I really do. Like you're saying, like hearing the corners like talk clearly, or even hearing the announcers, but like when it's not from the announcer mic, when it's from the ring mic, because they're right there. Daniel Cormier was saying that he has to watch some of the things he says because the fighters are hearing it. So if he's like, oh, he should do this, well, he's actually affecting the fight.
Or it's like, oh, his opponent is wobbled right now. The guy's like, oh, what did you say? All right.
Exactly, right? That's pretty crazy times. Listen, give all my love to your lady. All right. I'm so happy for you guys. I can't wait to meet the little one. Do you know if it's a boy or a girl yet?
Yeah, it's a girl.
Holy shit.
Yeah,
things are going to get wild, brother. Remember what they say.
Excited.
When you have a boy, you got to keep an eye on him. When you have a girl, you got to keep an eye on all the boys.
Yeah, I know. Don't worry, I gotta get me a shotgun.
When I had my daughter, I wrote a song called "Daddy Got a Shotgun."
Yeah, I know.
All right, love you, brother. I'll talk to you real soon,
Love you
man.
too. Take care,
All
brother.
right, peace out.
All right, peace out. Stay safe.
Yeah, brother.
Boom! Came and don't know shit.